Hi everyone, Michael here. Today I'm bringing you a quick bonus video on a topic I haven't covered in a while, and that is game audio with Unity and Wwise. About 3.5 years ago, I released a tutorial series on implementing audio in game development using the Unity game engine and the Audiokinetic Wwise audio middleware. This series has been quite popular, and I still receive many questions and comments on these videos. However, as the content is now over 3 years old, it's becoming increasingly challenging for me to answer very specific questions about it. So when somebody asks, for example, at 36 minutes and 47 seconds, you said this and that, what exactly did you mean by that? It's difficult to provide a good answer without rewatching the entire video myself. Now, luckily, we are in the age of artificial intelligence, so to remedy that situation, I've decided to create a custom GPT trained on the content of these videos. That means that if you need a quick answer to a problem, you can now simply ask that custom GPT. It is called Game Audio GPT, and it is available at gameaudiogpt.spaceforaudio.com. In case that redirect link doesn't work, I'll also leave a direct link to the custom GPT in the description below. Access to the GPT is completely free, but you will need to sign up for a free account on OpenAI's ChatGPT in order to be able to use it. In this video, I want to briefly demonstrate how it works and what you can do with it. So let's open up Game Audio GPT and have a look. So here we have our Game Audio GPT in Safari on a Mac. Now you can use that obviously on any platform as you want. And if you're on a Mac, you can also use it within the ChatGPT application itself. So you can actually open it up, and that will then open up that custom GPT within the ChatGPT app. So I have that here, for example. So I can then select that here as one of the models in the model selection, and I can ask it certain questions. So one thing that I can do, for example, is I made a mistake in one of the videos, and I'm just going to check if it knows that mistake and what I did. Made a major mistake in one of the videos. Where was that? And what did he do wrong? And then essentially it thinks a little, and he made a mistake in part 4 at the 36.32 mark, where he incorrectly used time.delta time in an equation that is already frame rate independent. And it kind of tells you what exactly I did wrong. So you can ask it any question with respect to the actual video series. So let's go back to the Safari version or the browser version of the custom GPT. And what I'm going to do is I'm simply going to select 2 actual questions that you guys asked in the comments and that I found really interesting. So let's first start with something that kind of gets a little bit into the details of what exactly kind of happened there and what somebody did wrong. And let me just kind of paste it here. That's sort of the question. It's a question that I think I actually answered that, but I'm not completely sure. Hi, thank you for sharing this, and it's a great tutorial. I have an issue though. I followed your steps, but for some reason my footsteps aren't being affected by the reverb zone. I made a game object with a box collider set to trigger, an AK environment script where the reverb aux bus I made in Wwise and the rigid body. I also put an AK game object script on my controller with it set to environment aware. I tried using the Wwise profiler, and it does not say I'm entering the reverb zone on the sense tab. Any idea what I might be doing wrong? So let's just check if Game Audio GPT has an answer to that. And it's going to think a little. And it tells essentially exactly what to do. So it thinks that it's mostly correct, but it kind of gives a couple of suggestions on what to do. So that question is actually answered really, really well. Now, I have not tested all the answers, to be perfectly honest. So if you do that, make sure that you always test. And it might be that you need to actually kind of go into a conversation with GPT in order to get to fine-tune essentially what ChatGPT is saying, but it actually kind of gave a really, really good answer of all the things that could be wrong and what you can do about those. So let me do one more that kind of shows a little bit of something that goes beyond what I actually did in my videos. So let me kind of do the following question. That was a more recent question, actually, that happened only a couple of weeks ago. And I honestly didn't really know how to answer that correctly. This was one of the questions that I would have actually had to research. I wanted to ask you about Audiokinetic Wise. I want the Opus codec. I can't find it. If you go to the site, you can find it on convert list, same as Vorbis and PCM. But if you download whatever version, there is no Opus. They give you just 3 options, PCM, AD, PCM, and Vorbis. Is there a way I can add it on Wise? So let's just check if Game Audio GPT has an answer to the question. And let's see what happens. And it does actually kind of tell you. The codec is not included by default and requires a separate plugin called the Opus Codec plugin. This plugin is not available out of the box with the standard Wise installation and needs to be installed separately. And then it gives you exact instructions on how to actually do that. So this, I think, is actually pretty cool. And that's all I wanted to cover today. So if you have any question related to that series that needs a quick response, give Game Audio GPT a try. Keep in mind that the custom GPT was trained on video transcripts, so it might not be aware of everything that happened visually on screen. However, it does have additional knowledge of Unity, Wise, and coding in general, so it might even know more than I do. I'm honestly curious about how well it performs and would love to hear your feedback. If you use Game Audio GPT and have any thoughts or insights to share, please leave a comment in the comment section below. As always, if you find this content helpful, please consider subscribing to the channel and don't forget to hit the like button. And with that being said, I'll see you all in the next video.